Welcome back to week 5 of the Full Grip Games Gym Leader Challenge League. This week we have Ben Peacock taking on JD in the finals. Ben is on the left playing Dragon, and JD is on the right playing Dark. Both of these players have already won a badge in the first 4 weeks of play, and they are looking for their second badge to take the lead in the Full Grip Games GLC League Season 2. And let's get right into the action. If you are watching and enjoying this content, please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you all so much for supporting. Now, back to the match. Ben is going first on the left. Drampa in the active and searches out a Gibble with Quick Ball to add to the bench. Drampa has the attach for turn, and if Ben is able to find a way to damage one of his benched Pokemon, he could take a turn 2 knockout with the Drampa onto this active Guzzlord on JD's side. JD does have the Guzzlord active, which is one of the worst starters to have in the Dark deck, since it has a hefty retreat cost. Normally you'd want to be able to retreat into something like that Hoopa that JD finds off that Hisuian Heavy Ball to take an early knockout on something with low HP, or swinging into the active for 90. And JD has Ultra Ball, discarding a Dark Claw and a Dark Energy to get down his Purloin. Purloin evolves into Liepard, which has a trade ability, discard 1 and draw 2. That is the best support Pokemon in the Dark deck. It is your main engine, so JD prioritizing getting that out. But noticeably, JD does not have a supporter for turn in his hand, and also no energy attachment since he discarded that single Dark Energy. I see a Dark Patch and a Beast Ring in his hand, and we'll see what JD's plan is. He is a little stuck right now. Ben, on the other hand, does have Mysterious Treasure for Gabite, and Ben has discarded already Cynthia Caitlin and Guzman Hala, and we see there that it is because he has the Professor's Research as the supporter for turn. Gabite is a great Pokemon in the Dragon deck. It has the Dragon Call ability that can search for any Dragon Pokemon in the deck and add it to the hand. Ben will definitely be using Dragon Call right now to search his deck and find another basic. Turbo TM Energize is already attached to the active Drampa, so Ben will probably want to grab something like this Druddigon here to accelerate some energy from the deck too. Ben takes a look at his hand, does have an energy attachment to that Drampa for turn, and we will see if he decides to use the TM Energize, which he does. Search his deck for 2 basic energy and attach them to his benched Pokemon, a fire and a water going on to that Druddigon. Now going into JD's turn, he does top deck the Hiding Dark Energy, so that Guzzlord will be able to retreat Dark Patch onto the Hoopa, and it's just an attack with Assault Gate for 90 from JD's side of the board. Still no supporters in hand, so Ben is in a great position right now to hopefully keep JD there. Dragon Call is Ben's first action. He finds the Dratini, another great support Pokemon once you get that Dragonite set up. And the new Colress's Tenacity is played here. Finding a Stadium and an energy card, we see Stormy Mountains and a Rainbow Energy being found. Stormy Mountains can find another basic, and Rainbow Energy will be able to damage one of Ben's benched Pokemon, so that Drampa can use Berserk for its complete 160 damage to take out JD's Hoopa. And Stormy Mountains finds the Regidrago. Rainbow Energy does come on to that Regidrago, giving it a single damage counter, activating Drampa's Berserk attack to do an additional 90 damage. And Ben checking his hand, seeing if there's anything else he wants to do. He has Dragonair in hand for the following turn, and he decides to simply attack with Berserk, and it's on to JD's side. JD, let's see what his top deck is. It is a supporter. Piers, finally. Let's see if he grabs the Liepard here, so he can potentially dig out of this hand. Similar to Colress, you can find any energy card off of the Piers, and it looks like JD is finding a Dark Energy, but he also just finds the Sableye with the Excavate ability, as opposed to finding the Liepard, interestingly enough. I wonder if he just does not want to discard any of the cards in his hand, although it looks like it's a basic Dark Energy and an Ordinary Rod. And JD forgoes discarding any of those, interestingly enough, and just has an attach onto the Guzzlord. Though Excavate did find Raihan as the top deck for JD's next turn, I still think Liepard probably would have been a better Pokemon to find to get you to play the game at all, because if the top deck was bad, JD would be stuck for a little bit. And Raihan also might keep him stuck, since it won't necessarily draw him a new hand. It'll just allow him to search for another card from his deck. But we'll see what Ben decides to do here in the driver's seat. Dragon Call finds Tatsugiri just to thin it out of the deck, add it to hand. Ben has lots of Evolution Search already in hand. And we can see that Ben is considering evolving into that Garchomp, which he does, activates the Sonic Slip ability, which means it will be invincible during JD's turn, will not take any damage. Normally, Garchomp is saved for a turn. It can swing so that you can use it twice in a row. You can attack twice since it won't die. But since Ben is playing the Iono here, maybe just wants to get the Garchomp into play. Dragon Call has already done enough. That Gabite is no longer really needed. And Iono is also interesting because we saw JD only had 3 cards in hand, though maybe Ben, assuming JD's top deck was a good supporter such as Research or anything else, Ben must have figured, well, he'll probably get out of this hand next turn anyway, since he did not discard his top deck, and decided to Iono to keep his board moving. But we can see that is coming back a little bit to bite him. JD would have been stuck with kind of a similar hand, would have been able to use Guzzlord, but would not have had this setup that Iono gave him Artisan as well as Buddy Buddy Poffin. And JD is back in this game just like that, and will also take 2 prizes with the Guzzlord, tying it up 4-4 prizes. So Ben giving JD some new life by playing the Iono. Ben had all the energy he wanted. Well, he didn't attach last turn, I believe, but he has the lead in attachments currently. Regidrago only needed 1 more attachment, like in a double dragon, to finish attacking. So maybe I would have liked Ben to hold off 1 more turn to see what JD's top deck actually was, before giving him a full fresh 6 cards. And JD is going to find the double colorless energy, or the twin energy, with the Raihan to finish powering up the Guzzlord, use Red Banquet, and take 2 prizes on this Drampa. Ben will be able to respond with the Druddigan, dealing 160 as a revenge knockout, so getting that Guzzlord out of there. But now JD has a lot of what he needs to respond. Most of his attackers on the bench only need 1 more energy to KO anything on Ben's side, so Ben just needs to make sure he can continue stringing attackers along, and Arven is Ben's supporter for turn. And Arven finds the Evolution Incense and the Float Stone. Evolution Incense getting that Dragonite with the Fast Call ability, which allows Ben to search out any supporter from his deck every turn. One of the best support Pokemon in the game, also used in Psychic decks with Gallade. It is the same ability, Buddy Catch. Being able to find any supporter you want is just so strong, and being able to get Dragonite up is such a huge benefit for the Dragon deck. The floatstone goes on to the Regidrago. Usually you put the floatstone there if you aren't attacking with Drago, so you can draw a couple cards with its ability, and then retreat into the attacker you like. And we see Dredigan coming up to take the Revenge knockout. Axew also comes onto the bench. Ben does play the new Haxorus that has the Bring Down the Axe attack, which can one-hit KO anything with a special energy, or for only 2 energy, I think it can do 230 damage. So some strong attack power there. That's 3 stage 2s in Ben's Dragon deck. JD now on his side, he promotes the Sneasel, which tells me he'll probably be attacking with that Weavile. Evil Admonition for only 1 energy does 50 damage times the number of abilities on your opponent's side. And I believe Ben has about 4 abilities in play right now. He does, so this will be coming in for an easy 200 damage knockout on that Dredigan. Arvin is the supporter for turn on JD's side. And JD finds Evolution Incense and a U-turn board. Evolution Incense can finally grab that Liepard. JD can begin drawing through his deck a little bit more, finding the pieces he needs. He still needs an energy attachment onto that Weavile, which I do see in hand. Debating on what to use, what to discard off the trade. It is the Tag Call, 2 cards drawn, basic energy onto the Weavile. And JD has teammates in hand, Guzma and Hala. He can do a lot with what he has in play on the following turn. Evil Admonition is used. JD takes his 3rd prize of the game. We are tied at 3-3 prizes. Garchomp being promoted with that U-turn board. And Ben uses Fast Call to search out a supporter for turn. Eyeing up the Marnie. Actually, it is the Raihan chosen here. We'll see who Ben decides to attack with this turn. Is he going to save the Is he going to save the Garchomp? Is he going to go in with the Drago? We'll see. Raihan being played here. We see a Fire Energy onto that Drago. Eyeing up the Rescue Stretcher as the card grab from the Raihan. Wanting to maybe get back his Pokemon that have been KO'd. Yep, there it is. A Super Rod, actually. We're seeing Drampaw and 2 basic energy being selected. Ben only needs to attack 3 more times to win the game, so he does have 3 attackers on board now with Garchomp, Drago, and the Drampaw. So hopefully that will get him across the finish line. It is good to find those energies as well. I wonder if that Dredigan would have been a better pick. If this Drago gets knocked out, which Ben is going active with it, if he wants to attack with Drampaw, he'll have to find a damage counter on one of his benched Pokemon. And that Rainbow Energy is down, and I believe Ben does not play the Gapejaw Bog Stadium or Team Magma's base or anything like that. So it is only the Rainbow Energy that can damage his bench. So maybe the Dredigan should have been the choice there. We'll see if that comes into play at all. JD going into his turn. Ben does only have 2 prizes remaining. It is going to be a close game. JD trade, discarding Quick Ball. Town Map was also found. Versus Seeker is in the prizes. I imagine that will be the next prize taken. Rainbow Energy on JD's side does boost the damage on that Spiritomb, allowing it to go up to 3 damage counters, and its ability will put it up to 4. And I believe that will be the knockout on that Regidrago. Now JD on his side, he just needs to attack 3 more times also. So he'll need another attacking Pokemon, most likely. Though he only needs 2, because if both of these attackers get knocked out, he does lose the game. So 2 attackers only needed on JD's side, but he just has to find a way to sneak past Ben somehow. teammates is his supporter for turn. I did not quite see what he grabbed. It looks like a rescue stretcher. And the Zorark, foul play Zorark being found there. It can copy any attack on your opponent's active Pokemon for only 2 colorless energy. Building Spite being used to put it up to 4 damage on that Spiritomb. And Anguish Cry will be doing 130 damage, enough to knock out that Regidrago. The Drago goes down. And now Ben has only 2 more knockouts to get there. We'll see what action Ben takes. Tag call is being played. I know both tag team supporters are in the discard, so it's most likely just to see what resources he has left. Double Dragon Energy has not been found yet either this entire game. And we see that Rare Candy and Luxurious Cape are the remaining 2 prizes. Unlikely that this Haxorus will make it into play in this game. Field Blower is played, getting rid of that Artisan and that U-turn board. U-turn board back to hand. Usually that is done when a hand disruption supporter is going to be played. Fast call on Ben's side to search out a supporter. We'll see what the grab is. Maybe Iono, maybe N. It is Marnie. N or Iono would put Ben to only 2 cards, and Ben really needs energy right now. There's none in his hand currently. And there it is, Marnie is the play there. That Drampa can also take a knockout for only 1 colorless energy, any type, since Spiritomb only has 20 HP remaining, and it looks like that is what Ben is deciding to do, fighting onto the Drampa. Looks like there's no water energy in hand either. Both Drampa and Garchomp need water energy to use their main attacks. But Ben goes down to 1 prize card, has Drampa, has Garchomp. We'll see if JD can find a way to sneak out a win against Ben. And interestingly enough, the Zorark foul play cannot even knock out the Drampa unless there is a damage counter on one of JD's benched Pokemon. So maybe that is the reason Ben saw out the Drampa, to make it hard for JD to knock it out with the foul play. If so, that was a very smart play on Ben's side.
I heard Natalie talk at you, but I didn't hear what she said. Did she say you can't ditch like a tool on it?
Trading away the Beast Ring. That card is useless at this point.
It's really cool because the evolution also has the exact same ability. So until it gets into its actual attack,
Pokegear being played. I think I did see a Guzma. I wonder what what JD's supporter for turn will be here. Must not have been a Guzma, it was a Marnie, and Marnie is the selection off the Pokegear. JD shuffling up. JD considering what to do here. I wonder if he will decide to stall for a turn, maybe bring something else up. He's not knocking out the Drampa. JD is in a tough spot here. Escape Rope is being played. It's risky to send up the Garchomp because JD could have energy and a retreat on the Liepard and knock out Ben's Garchomp. So I think it is correct to send something else up. I probably would have sent up the Axew at this point, maybe. It has a smaller retreat cost than the Dragonite, though Dragonite also cannot be KO'd by the Zorark. And I believe Ben should have some switch outs still in deck. He has Versus Seeker there. We'll see what JD decides to do. Professor's Research is the supporter used there after an energy onto the Zorark. It is ready to use foul play. U-turn board found there. But Foul Play will not take a knockout on the Dragonite. So all Ben needs to do is find a way to switch out and a Water Energy onto the Garchomp to finish this game out. Only a few cards left in deck for both players. And we see a retreat into the Zoroark. JD could put some damage onto the Dragonite, but that would just give Ben the damage on a Pokemon he needed to use Drampaw's attack. So JD does decide to use Zoroark's first attack, Nasty Plot, and search out a card from his deck. And it looks like Frozen City might be the grab here. Frozen City, interestingly enough, could get a damage counter on JD's benched Pokemon and allow him to copy Berserk. We'll see what JD plans to do on his next turn. But now we're over to Ben. Buddy Buddy Poffin being played. Again, checking the resources. Ben just needs an energy, a water energy, or a rainbow energy, and a way to switch to win this game. He has Versus Seeker in hand, and I believe Mela. Mela will not do anything since a knockout was not taken. Fire energy will not get there either. He needs a rainbow or a water. Level Ball being played, thinning out the deck, seeing what is left. I see Escape Rope is still in the deck, so that will win him the game if he can find a water energy. But Ben is also getting low on resources. It looks like there's probably about 15 cards left in Ben's deck. We'll see what he can find. Hex Maniac is found off Fast Call just to thin it out. Ben's either going to play an Iono or Marnie, or looks like Research is the grab off of the Versus Seeker. Yes, if Ben can see Water Energy, Escape Rope in his top 7 cards, he'll win the game here. Research being played, getting rid of that Mela. We find the Water Energy, a Boss, Rainbow. Plenty of energy for Ben. Special Charge, no switch out. That Dragonite is going to be stuck for another turn. And we see a Water Energy come down onto that Garchomp. But the Dragonite is stuck. If JD can boss up the Garchomp, knock it out, Drampaw will not be able to respond, though Ben is putting back the Rainbow Energy. But you can't attack with Drampaw next turn and attach Rainbow Energy to a basic Pokemon, or to a benched Pokemon. You have to attach to the Drampaw. This is a close game. We'll see what happens here. Rescue Stretcher being played. Druddigon being grabbed and benched. Now that Druddigon is benched, I would have liked to see maybe the Water Energy attached to the Druddigon, and then the Rainbow Energies that are left could be attached to either the Druddigon or the Garchomp, depending on what happens. So, because now the Druddigon probably will not be able to be powered up. JD needs to take a knockout here. We do see the boss's orders. JD could get rid of the Garchomp, and then Ben might not have the energy to close out the game. We'll see. Professor's Letter being played on JD's side, thinning out that deck. Trades away the Guzmahala. Debating the Frozen City. He does not want to give access to Frozen City to Ben, but he does put it in play and does get 20 damage onto his Liepard, allowing him to copy Berserk for the full 160 and instantly field blowers it away so Ben cannot use it. Great play from JD, giving him as many options as possible. And there is the boss's orders onto that Garchomp. JD will be able to copy Dragon Blade to knock out the Garchomp. Discarding the top 2 cards of his deck. Now Ben just needs to respond, but as I said, he does not play the Gapejaw Bog. He does not, he might not have a way to get a damage counter onto a bench Pokemon. He has to find probably double Dragon Energy onto the Druddigon to finish out this game. but his hand is kind of dead. Has he used all his gas? He needs some draw supporters. That Double Dragon is still in the deck. Unfortunate that Ben missed Double Dragon, and he missed the escape rope last turn. Just in those last, looks like 8 cards in the deck. Gladion is one of the only supporters left in the deck. Ben will not be able to draw any cards. This is looking not great for Ben, unfortunately. Gladion being played. That Luxurious Cape is found. Ben attaching it to the Grandpa. He'll just have to tank a hit. This could actually win him the game. JD just needs one final gust. And I think Ben knows he's on the ropes here, unfortunately. Discards that Haxorus off of the Aurora Energy attachment. And we'll go in with Berserk for 70 on JD.
Berserk for 70 damage.
And JD quickly plays Guzma on the Dredigan and copies Dragon Claw for exactly 120 to take the final prize. JD snuck this one out. Oh my gosh, you can see him pop off. And interestingly enough, that Dredigan on Ben's side did come back to bite him. There was nothing else that JD could have knocked out with a foul play. Foul play does not KO the Dragonite. It does not KO the Axew. It only KOs that Dredigan. Foul play also could not KO the Drampa since it had the Luxurious Cape on it. Great play from both players, and JD takes it. Goes up to his second badge of the season. Congrats to both players. And I did interview them briefly. Let's hear from them, their thoughts on that final game.
I mean, I could have been playing more draw supporters. I think that's like a big thing that was messed up. I didn't have another draw supporter in my deck, and I also used Verse Seeker because I had Game Possible on board. If I off the research got the escape rope and any of my energies that would work for but I whiffed the research for those 2 pieces. Either water, anything that does water, and the escape rope. That's all I needed. Benching the Dredigon was what lost me the game. So that actually,
And I will say,
it was benching the Dredigon.
another thing
I didn't need to do
that
that. So that's such a good game.
Yeah, that game against Ben Peacock was nuts. I had just a dead hand, started Guzzlord, and it was looking rough as I watched Ben just set up the board, start evolving as I was kind of draw passing, and he took the early prize lead. I think you were up like 2 prizes. Yeah, up 2 prizes. I managed to power up a Guzzlord off a Excavate, seeing Raihan on the top, and luckily you Iono'd me. So I got to keep the Raihan Guzzlord. It brought me back to tying prizes, and then it was just I hope he whiffs something and I can piece things together, and it was wild. It was a wild game.